Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to a Thursday short track sim racing showdown in Brazelton, Georgia at the virtual Lanier National Speedway as the Upstate Racing League rolls into the penultimate race before the chase cutoff on a 2015 and now 2016 hunt for the Les Enterprises MP Roy Incorporated Pro Late Model Series Championship. It is round number 8. The Varno Construction 100 is set to roll, and we're happy to have you with us on LSRTV and iRacing Live. We roll into the 2016 racing calendar. 5 races left to go in the Upstate Racing League, 3 of which will be a championship round determined amongst the top 14 drivers. That will be determined upon, though, at the end of next Thursday night's race. We're not quite to that chase cutoff yet, but tonight's race at Lanier is a big, crucial stepping stone in getting there if you want to walk away with the hardware when February comes. I want to welcome you up to the LSRTV broadcast booth, normally alongside with Cisco Scaramuza. They're live right now on LSRTV 2 for the Domino's TYJ Racing season opener. I encourage you to check that out as well, but do want to thank everybody for tuning in alongside with us. Evan Pasoko and Ben Kilcrease with you at the Lanier National Speedway. And Ben, these guys got 2 weeks off. That's great and all. This is what they live for. It's almost been tough for them to not be out to the virtual short track the last 2 Thursday nights. They're ready to rock and roll. It's a tight points championship, 1 through 14. You want to win, but you got to get in. That's what these next 2 races are about.
Oh yeah, we headed into the vacation, the 2-week vacation with a unbelievable race at Southern National Motorsports Park. Forget the photo finish there. Nick Rasmussen won that race, boosted himself into the points lead. He leads Justin Fuller by 5 points heading into tonight. You talked about it. Chase gonna get started. We're gonna know who's in the chase at the end of next Thursday night when we complete the race at Stafford.
Stafford's a fun track, so is Lanier. No, it's technically known as the Lanier Raceplex. Now we know it as the virtual Lanier National Speedway, and the drivers at the moment working through their 15-minute closed 2-lap qualifying session, and at the moment provisional pole on the night sits in the hands of the 44 of CJ LeVere. Just one driver yet to take a qualifying time, so the 44 looking to walk away with this one. But we do come into this 2016 calendar again with just 5 races left. The top 14, and interesting number at that. The drivers that get to advance into the championship round of 3. The chase coming up, as we mentioned, after next Thursday night for the final 3 races. 4 of those top 14 drivers at the moment are rookies in this series. We saw Nicholas Rasmussen get a spectacular win just the last time we were out at that Southern National Motorsports Park, as we mentioned. He was a rookie not all that long ago in this series. He's now a seasoned veteran, and you mentioned him being in front of Justin Fuller, who, by the way, knows his way around a short track or 2 on the iRacing sim as well. It has been so fun the last couple of years to see these guys evolve from being rookie drivers in the Upstate Racing League to now the seasoned veterans. This rookie class continues to impress us, and there's a lot of names to look at tonight. Can't really pick out a few of them because it looks like we're going to have about 22 cars getting set to take the grid for 100 laps, 37.5 miles, start to finish tonight. And it's under the lights too. Although it's not on a Saturday night, I will say short track racing under the lights is just about as good as it gets.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an amazing race here tonight, Lanier National Speedway. In practice, 22 drivers separated by less than half a second. That shows you how quick the times are going to be. And when you get closer and closer to the top of the speed charts, the times get closer and closer. This racetrack here, it has enough banking so you can throw the car in there, but you also have to think before you do such a thing like that. And with the new dynamic track, or it's kind of getting a little old now, but with the dynamic track, 100 laps is a long time on a short track. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of grooves start to shake up as the run goes on.
And as we go into tonight with that win in round 7, it's Nicholas Rasmussen jumping to the top of the iRacing Beams power rankings, joined by Justin Fuller, Philip Thompson, AJ Bunch, and Brandon Otto, defending series champion in P5. By the numbers, those are some of the names you're going to have to highlight and take a look at tonight. Everybody's a threat, though, at a short track. Nothing is guaranteed. It'll be a wild ride in between lap 1 and lap number 100, and we're happy to have you along for the ride. So in order to get tonight's Varno Construction 100 underway, we'll toss things down now trackside, get underway to the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose There's broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And a big thanks to Jaded Berkey for performing tonight's national anthem. We talk about rookies. Well, your A to Zod Raps Rookie of the Year standings leader at the moment is Bruce Hilton, albeit just by 1 point in front of Rodney Hack. He is back in 15th position on the grid. It tells you what kind of competition these guys are going to find themselves in on the mix tonight. And with that, let's work our way back from P1 through 15th. Take a look at the iRacing Beams starting grid. Pole position tonight sponsored by NHR Racing goes to CJ LaVere. The 13-33 going to be fast enough to get him the number 1 starting spot outside pole to the 41. That's EJ O'Rourke. Tony Bonji, TJ Graves, and Joshua Cott round out the top 5 starters. Justin Fuller, AJ Bunch, Brian Rogers Jr., Dylan Godet, and Al Smith Jr. through 10th.
11th is Stefan Marinac, then Dan DeBouquet, Nicholas Rasmussen, Brandon Wilkinson, Bruce Hilton, AJ Hamill, Cale Freiner, Charlie Ryan, Philip Thompson, and Mike Hotzclaw. That's the top 20.
And then Jay DeBoot going to be the final driver to put down a time in qualifying, slated to start in 21st and 22nd. Going to be Justin McDuff. It is a 22-car field, 11 rows deep of Pro Late models getting set to go underway. And as we mentioned, a busy night on LSRTV and the LSRTV broadcast networks, live at LSRTV 2 as well for Domino's TYJ. But for us, it's short track racing, and we're glad to have you with us on LSRTV through iRacing Live. The Speed 4 Chevrolet going to get us rocking and rolling. Green flag in the air from Lanier National Speedway. The Varno Construction 100 is green. Pole sitter to the bottom of the racetrack. CJ LaVere, not the best jumping 1 and 2. Top side actually for O'Rourke to get a small advantage. Now powering back down low. Leaders contact at the start finish on 44. Going to use the bottom that time. Second time through turn number 2. Get clear for the top spot.
O'Rourke looking pretty good on the outside line, but now the freight train gets lined up on the bottom. He's the only car within the 5 that's on the outside. The 51 gets bumped up to the outside. Graves looks down low. He's now to the inside of O'Rourke. Look for that 3rd spot as they race down into turn number 3. Side by side, O'Rourke still working the outside. He's got to get down though, or he's going to lose more positions.
He'll find a spot in behind. He'll jump all over that opportunity, get him behind a 22. TJ Graves running in 3rd. Started at P4, was actually be able to get down from the outside of the racetrack, gain a spot, and all of that. Finds himself 3rd right now. Has had fast race cars this season, has not had any luck. He looks to turn that around as the calendar strikes 2016. He gets in line behind Tony Bonji, who quietly settled into the number 2 position after he passed EJ O'Rourke to the bottom side. The 41 had a good challenge in 1 and 2 on the opening lap, but after that, it was all downhill. He settled into P4, and as we mentioned, that was just in front of Justin Fuller. The 51 was the other driver, stuck topside. He'll go from P6 to P5, so he actually gains a spot in that exchange. Fuller, though, no doubt being aggressive in those opening laps.
Everybody going to get single file here early on at Lanier National Speedway. You have to go way back to about the 11th position before you see a battle start to heat up, and it's for the 10th position between Dylan Godet and Stefan Marinac. Marinac was looking in the past couple of laps. He's settled now in behind the 26, a little bit of damage to the rear end of Godet's car as they race down into turn number 1. Everybody getting single file on a rhythm early on, but we're already a 10th of the way through this race up.
Definitely the time's going to be knocking by quite quickly. 10 laps in already. That's a tenth of the way home, and CJ LaVere is enjoying the clean racetrack up in front of him. Just behind Dylan Godet, as you mentioned, at Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet. He's got some back-end damage. Marinak's got some front-end damage, and based on what I just saw again in turn 3, it's not much of a question why. Marinak, the bump and run at a turn number 4. He'll move Godet up and out of the groove, take the spot in turn number 2. It's no holds bar for P10. This going on 4 seconds behind your race leaders, but they're not showing it.
Not showing it at all. Rasmussen, last week's winner, going to get around the Godet machine on the inside as well. Godet going to have to try and find a lane down low, but the 16 of Ryan sends it down into turn number 3 really deep. Godet going to try and fight back on the outside. He's going to give up a fight, but you're going to have to get down low in order to keep your position. That's just going to be the name of the game here tonight, almost like Talladega. So when you get pushed down a line, you're going to fall and drop like a rock.
He continues to slide that Jack Daniels forward. Orion makes the move, and now the 52 machine. Change of kind of fortune here for the 52 quick-lated machine. Bruce Hilton was stuck to the outside of the side-by-side battle, just behind while we were watching Godet try to hold off Rasmussen at Marinak a couple of laps ago. The 52 lost that fight, but got down the line, takes it right back. He's in 13th position. He'll bring the 18 of AJ Hamill through as well, so that driver going to move up another spot, and finally, the bleeding will be stopped, but not until Dylan Godet falls to 15th position, and after starting P9, not a good opening 15 lap stint.
Going to go back to the Bruce Hilton machine in the 52 leader heading into tonight, and he ate assigned wraps Rookie of the Year standings. He led by 1 over Rodney Hack. I don't think Rodney is here tonight, so he's going to be able to put some distance in between he and Hack, but a good run for the Rookie of the Year contestant. Bruce Hilton sits 13th right now, trying to work his way into the top 10. We've still got quite a bit of ways to go, but as we tick these laps off, time continuing to tick down, and they go fast here at Lanier, just under 14 seconds.
And what that means is for CJ LaVere, I mentioned he's going to be enjoying the clean racetrack out in front of him. Well, slowly but surely, he's catching up to the guys at the back of the lead lap. Right now, the last driver on the lead lap is the last driver on the scoring pylon. All 22 drivers still on the lead lap. The first driver, though, it's going to be caught by CJ LaVere is Jade Book. He's 22nd, 11 seconds back. That puts LaVere about 3-4 seconds behind him, and now that car is slowly starting to come into focus for that 44 of CJ LaVere. Going to be important how he navigates that lap traffic, because he really doesn't have a commanding gap in front of Tony Bongi, albeit it's a gap of about 7/10 of a second. A little bit enough to give you an opportunity to tiptoe through that lap traffic. Don't force the issue. That 92, though, going to see that exact same scenario as an opportunity to make up time. That's why he's just trying to stay in range of that 44 until things get a lot more busy. I'd say maybe 7 or so laps.
Keep watching these two up at the front of the field. Manji, his car looks stuck to the racetrack. He's got Graves right on his rear bumper. If you watch the LaVere machine, it almost looks a little free coming off the turn. It looks a little what we like to call bouncy in the short track ranks. LaVere, maybe the handling starting to go away from that machine as we're a fourth of the way through here, our 100 lap event tonight. Manji is starting to close the gap. You can see it on the time charts, and you can see it visually as LaVere eases closer and closer to the bumper of the 65 to put him 1 lap down.
That gap very quickly went from 7/10 of a second now down to 3. CJ LaVere has been in class of the field all night long. Fastest driver in practice, qualified pole, and has led every single lap so far from the start of the race. But that lap traffic is there, and so is Tony Bongi. And with Graves beat up the back end of the 92 behind the 44, it's a 3-way battle for the race lead down to 3 and 4. Dubuque going to go to the bottom of the racetrack. LaVere going to swing high at a turn number 4. That's going to hurt the 44, though, into the corner. That 65 tries to stay as much out of the way as he can. He'll be able to get out of the way without causing much of an issue. The gap between P1 and P2 about a car length. Graves, though, a little bit more difficulty getting through in turn number 3. The 22 not giving up. The top 3 class of the field right now. 4th on back, where you'll find Justin Fuller and company over 2 seconds off of the pace from the 44, the 92, and the 22.
Top 3 all tail to nose on a heck of a show up front. Manji down in turn number 1 has caught the bumper of the 44 machine down into turn number 3. We'll see if he can make any ground up off turn 4. He is right there on the rear bumper with 30 laps in here at Lanier National Speedway. Manji continuing to ride right on the bumper as we're on board with the 92. He takes a peek to the outside. I don't think that's going to work. He'll swing back down low, try to get a run. Can he get a nose by the time they get to 1?
Lavere going to go way wide off of turn 4, ducks back to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see visually from Roddy right behind that Speed Force Chevrolet in the race lead. It is not planted to the racetrack coming off the quarter. Lavere trying to hold on and a little bit of contact that time in turn number 1. 1 shots, 2 shots, not enough. The 44 not willing to give it up quite yet, but at the 1/3 mark, that 92 of Tony Manji, he wants to get going. Another bobble by Lavere to the inside of the racetrack. Battle for the race lead. Lavere going to overdrive it in turn number 1. He'll spin topside towards the outside wall. Caution flag is out. He'll avoid getting into anything else, and I think for the most part everybody else sneaked on through there, but CJ Lavere bobbled, overdrove that. That was the aggressive defensive move, but Tony Manji had the spot and no problem for the 92 to sail on through on the bottom there as it was spinning topside for CJ Lavere, and Tony Manji going to go to the race lead at lap number 35.
You see the replay. Lavere gets loose off of turn 4. Manji was able to get a nose down into turn 1, and you talked about it, Evan. He just overdrives it heading down into turn number 1. You cannot do that here at Lanier National Speedway. The car will do just what it done and spin right around with you. Lavere, the cause of our first caution here tonight in the Upstate Pro Late Models.
We were talking about how his car was not handling all that good anyway, so you take an upset car which was really at a kink coming off of turn number 4, and you throw it in there trying to chop the run for the 92 off like he had done the lap prior. Just not going to work. So what that means is CJ Lavere undoubtedly is probably going to be heading pit side at some time under the caution flag here to get service done to that car on a long green flag run. Somewhat irrelevant, but when you find yourself in a race now where we get a caution flag about 15 laps or so shy of the halfway point when the yellow flag flew from the spotter stand there on the front straightaway, the fact that pit strategy comes into this, and sometimes we've seen pit strategy be no pit strategy, and sometimes pit strategy has been coming down pit side. These drivers working right now with 4 virtual Hoosier Racing tires on board their Pro Late models. They've got 4 extra ones sitting down in their stalls, and that's it. You can come down and get 4 tires at once. You can get 2 tires 2 times throughout the night, but you can't take any more than 4 additional tires. A lot of the time, our leaders don't like to pit because they don't like to give up the track position. Typically, it's the guys 10th on back that we'll start to see trickle down pit road, get a tire advantage, and then hope that we get another long green flag run breakout, see if they can get anything going.
We do turn the lights off. We'll say that Justin Fuller gave up the 4th spot. Evan, he came down, took 4 tires during that caution period. That's going to be interesting to watch.
Justin Fuller has won races and lost races by that strategy. We'll see how it plays out. The base car down and away. The first American ethanol restart on the night. Green flag back in the air. Tony Manji, no problem, getting into the race lead. Single file through turns 1 and 2. O'Rourke on the bottom. Much better than where he was on the drop of the first green flag. He's inside on TJ Graves, but the 22 powers top side. Mr. Excitement to P2 at lap number 41. Dropping O'Rourke back to 3rd.
O'Rourke a little overdrive heading down into turn number 3. Had to check up where he would have got into 22, and that would have been a big mess right in front of the field. Top 3, tail to nose. The battle is on for 3rd, though. Cotton trying to hold off the 12 machine of Rogers from the outside. They'll do battle side by side. Manji got loose. Almost trouble at the front of the field.
They will hang on. Tony Manji got the assist out of the way from TJ Graves. Got moved topside. Everybody hangs on, and for the 22 machine, that means going to P1. It'll bring O'Rourke up to 2nd, and I'm sure a fuming number 92 with Tony Manji now fighting to stay in 3rd. If that iRacing Beams Corvette gets anywhere back near TJ Graves, hold on to your seatbelts, folks. The 92 makes that pass topside on the 12 for Brian Rogers Jr. He'll get down into 3rd, and all of a sudden things just got a whole lot more interesting at the front of the field. The top 3 drivers now have reasons to not be happy with each other, and they are going at it at lap number 45. Graves to the race lead, though.
I don't think the WWE can write a better storyline than what we're seeing right now. We ease up on halfway here at Lanier National Speedway. Graves, your leader. O'Rourke's at 2nd. Manji wants everything to do with the rear bumper of TJ Graves' car as they race off of turn number 4 to put 46 in the books. Manji right on the bumper of O'Rourke. O'Rourke has a little bit of space between he and Graves, your leader out front.
And that gap not growing any at all. The number 41 of O'Rourke still plastered on the back of the double clutch Chevrolet's back end. Graves trying to lead it the halfway point. Todemanji did get some damage in that exchange. Not only is the left rear beat up a little bit, but that car did go all the way to the outside wall. There's some right side damage on it. He's got a front row seat for the battle for the race lead. O'Rourke tried it, not going to work, and now I'm taking advantage of the 41 machine is that 92 of Todemanji. He'll give the bumper to Ronald right back. He moves O'Rourke topside. 41 falls to third. Manji back to second, and it's nothing but him and 5/10 of a second right now between him and Retribution.
We'll have to see if he can get back up to the bumper of TJ Graves. A lot of damage to the right side of that number 92. Although we are at a short track. Cosmetic damage not going to be a problem. It's the suspension you have to worry about. Did he hit it square with a tire? Did he go in at an angle and knock the toe out? It doesn't look like it's hurt it too much. Give him a couple laps. Wait for the tires to get some wear on it. Then we'll be able to tell how much damage the 92 truly has. He's cutting away at the lead though now.
Brings the gap down from 5 to 4/10 of a second. That last time by the start-finish line, and all of the problems are behind him. O'Rourke is absolutely under attack by the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. Stefan Marinac is right there as well on the back of that 12 machine. The top 5 not nearly spreading far apart as they did previously. Battle side by side inside of the top 10. Nicholas Rasmussen to the inside on the 81 machine of Joshua Kahn. The 71 goes to the inside of the racetrack. The Smith Media Production Chevrolet not quite getting the traction that he wants at this juncture to be able to put up a battle for that fight, and indeed the 81 will win that. TJ Graves picked it back up though. It's Manji. O'Rourke battling the turn number 1. O'Rourke paid him back. They both got sideways. Somehow Manji hangs on, and EJ shuffled topside.
O'Rourke going to have to fend off that third spot from Brian Rogers Jr. Rogers on the bottom. O'Rourke gets a little loose off turn 2. They'll battle side by side down into turn number 3. Rogers has got to be careful. He's got Marinac all over his rear bumper. O'Rourke tried the outside early on in the race. We'll see if he can prevail on the little bit older tires here about mid-race. As we just put 56 in the books, we're going to be working on 57. Marinac gives the bumper to Rogers. They're still side by side. Big crash behind them.
Marinac going to get turned hard into the outside wall. The track will be blocked, and they'll pile him in down the front straightaway. Stefan Marinac, kind of an innocent victim in all of that going on in front of him, trying to get around the 12 for Brian Rogers Jr. Obviously, when you're running your preferred lane, you're a lot faster than somebody going side by side. Contact there on the 96. He got tapped by the 81. It was a hard lick into the outside wall for Stefan Marinac. The 16 machine immediately involved heavy damage to Charlie Ryan and at least 3 to 4 other cars. You're going to get some damage in all of that. But with that, though, we cross the halfway point at Lanier National Speedway, and it's TJ Graves in front. 40 laps to go. We'll step away, and we'll be back for the restart. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the Upstate Racing League Les Enterprises MP Roy Incorporated Pro Late Model Series on iRacing Live.
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion. Being the best, what it looks like to be a cut up on the...
Our research shows drivers won a league with no
cheating,
kids wrecking me,
admin favoritism, multiple fast repairs,
intentional wrecks.
Drivers we interviewed also won a league with
clean competitive racing, clear-cut rules,
enjoys having all the drivers,
a full field of drivers,
end-of-year cash purse,
follows the rules on a constant basis.
At Domino's TYJ Racing, we listened to the drivers and created a league with high integrity and professionalism, just like Domino's Pizza has maintained for the last 55 years. Claim your share of the over $3,000 purse by applying today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com for one of the few remaining Cup car rides or your seat in our action-packed truck series.
Yo, I dropped the 88, Ricky Bobby, shake and bake, sleeping on it, should've stayed awake, huh?
Green flag back in the air, and TJ Graves going to try to get as far away for the next closest driver as possible. Meanwhile, because, well, they probably both owe him a little bit of retribution, Tony Manji going to be able to slide into second on the restart at just 37 laps to go. Not as easy for EJ O'Rourke. He'll try to battle off the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. That's door-to-door for third.
They'll do battle down into turn number 3. O'Rourke now working the bottom side of the racetrack. We haven't seen him down there that much. Look at Justin Fuller. We talked about him, about that 33-lap caution. He took new tires. He's around the outside of the 81, looking for more as they go down into turn number 3. The 4 tires for the 51 could pay off late in the going here at Lanier.
And he's making those passes on the outside of the racetrack, which we've seen a couple of times tonight, but they were more so defensive moves than offensive. The 51 putting the pedal to the metal to the 81 of Joshua Cotton. He's pushing the 12 machine topside, telling Brian Rogers Jr., hey, let's go. They're battling. Third on back is where the side-by-side is. Fuller going to be able to get to the inside of the racetrack. Now he'll go for the number 3 spot. He'll try to get 2 in one swing of the bat to the bottom on EJ O'Rourke. The 51, 4 fresh tires. Holland on the inside. He wants to catch Graves and Amanji, who've opened up a 1.5 second gap.
What an unbelievable run-up through the field by Justin Fuller taking place right now. He was able to avoid the melee on the front stretch that brought out the last caution. We had a couple of questions about Rasmussen, our last week's winner. He was involved in the caution, got a piece of it, knocked the toe end out heavily on the rear side of that race car. But we go back to Justin Fuller. Right behind him, they are going side by side, beating and banging here for the positions.
Top 2 drivers, 0.4 of a second apart, TJ Graves and Tony Manji. Then you find Justin Fuller. He's gotten clear of now what is 4th and 5th, Joshua Cotton and EJ O'Rourke. How much quicker is he, though? Can he catch him if we continue to go green? Inside of 30 laps to go now. The virtual Lanier National Speedway only picked up a couple of hundredths of a second that last time by. At that rate, it would not be enough. You talk about frustrating. Tony Manji lost 1/10 of a second per lap the last 2 times around. He's 0.6 of a second off. He's got a beaten up race car. The car may not be handling at 100%, and it's extremely frustrating, Ben, because he knows the reason the car's not handling good is because of that car in front of him, and he can't let him know how he feels at this pace.
Trouble at the back of the field. It's the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. up into the wall in turn number 2. He gets into it with the 20 machine of Al Smith Jr. as they were racing for the 6th spot down in turn number 1. That brings out yet another caution here tonight at Lanier National Speedway. The 52 of Hilton also gets a piece of it as everybody was trying to avoid the melee on the back straightaway. Caution out again, though, for the contact between the 20 and the 12.
But all things considered, they did a really good job of hanging on to it. However, just running out of room for Brian Rogers Jr. after the contact. The 12 machine way up the hill, and a caution did fly once he came to a complete stop in turn number 4. So with that, we slow him back down. More importantly, though, we group him back up. And the guys at the front of the field, we talked about pit strategy. We saw Justin Fuller do it. I don't see anybody pitting now inside the top 5. Come down pit road to get tires, because I think you're just not going to have enough green flag racing in the final 25 laps when you group these guys back up to get the job done. Does that then put Justin Fuller in the catbird seat? Because he'll be right on the bumper at TJ Graves from the inside of row 2.
No doubt. We're going to have the green flag with about 21 laps to go here at Lanier. Justin Fuller going to be on the inside for this restart, so he's not going to have to worry about getting down into line. Even if he did, he has the fresher tires. We've seen him make the pass on the outside before. That wouldn't be a problem. He's going to be on the inside. It's going to be easier for him. He's going to be right behind TJ Graves as they go down into turn number 1. But for Tony Manji, this is his last chance, maybe his last chance to go for the win. So what do we see out of the 92? That's another question we're going to see. And TJ Graves, what's he going to do? Is he going to make that bumper as wide as he can, or try to get a good jump here? It's just going to be crazy on this restart with about 20 laps to go.
TJ Graves driving with a chip on his shoulder. He's been in spots to win these races this season and has not made it across the start-finish line in 5 races. He wants to get this win to get 2016 rolling on a good start. Tony Manji topside, a damaged car. Feels like that should be him leading us back to the green flag. And Justin Fuller trying to get that spot in the top spot in the championship. 5 points behind Nicholas Rasmussen into tonight, running better than him as Rasmussen's behind the wall. A win could do him justice. Green flag back in the air. TJ Graves going to be able to get to turn 1. The 92 Amaji tries to duck and run. No room. It's Justin Fuller up the inside. The 51, he'll push and shove his way to second. They'll wreck behind.
Unbelievable as they go down into turn number 1. Caution does fly. Looks like the 2 of Hot's Claw going to be involved. No, it was a big crash. A big pileup with some big names involved. CJ
The
LeVere.
18 car, top side. One of the drivers that involved, AJ Hamill, the 52. And a case where you got guys too wide. I don't think it's any really fault on Bruce Hilton's part. He got hit from behind. He got knocked up to the top side. And again, all of this going on. As for P2, these guys are wrecking each other at a turn 2 and trading paint. Everything going on for 7th on back. And the drivers that finally went around, the 52 machine of Bruce Hilton, one of the drivers, the 14, the 65. Almost everybody, P7 on back, I think, got some sort of damage in that exchange, and all of that continues to do is continue to stir the pot up at the front of the field. Now instead of saying inside of the final 30, we get to say inside of the final 20. Restart could be with about 15 laps to go. Graves is still in front, but now Fuller, who just gave no room and no leniency, which I didn't expect him to do, Ben, to Tony Bonji, who wanted to get down to the bottom. Now Justin needs to get down to the bottom. The 92 probably not going to give him any favors either now because he'll be on the inside of row 2.
If I'm Justin Fuller, I'm going to go a little bit wider going down into turn number 1 because I know that 92 is going to be behind the 22. There's a good possibility the 22 might be going up the racetrack. We'll just have to see what's going to happen on this restart. It'll be with about 15 laps to go. Should get the lights off on the pace car this go around. It's going to be Graves, Fuller, Manji, O'Rourke, and Cotton. That is your top 5 as we get set to stack them up for what could be the final restart of the night if everybody's able to keep it clean.
And I'm going to feel bad for Joshua Cotton if he gets torn up in something because the top 4 drivers have not been playing nice. Joshua Cotton, he's been minding his own business. He's going to have a whale of a view for this one. Graves, Fuller, front row. Monchi, O'Rourke on row number 2. Could it be for the final time tonight at Lanier National Speedway? The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn. Get down, get out of the way. Graves on the loud pedal. Green flag back in the air. No room on the bottom for Fuller. Down to turn number 1. He'll be forced to ride the high side in turn 2. He'll get the spot for Manji. They all drive into each other. Graves going to get turned in turn number 3. And Tony Manji going to go to the race lead. Caution flag will fly. And that was 2 dive bombs in 1 spot of real estate. 3 drivers and only 1 of them made it out.
Are you kidding me? An unbelievable turn of events. First of all, Fuller wasn't going to make it. And if Fuller wasn't going to make it, Manji sure enough did not have enough room. Fuller drives it in, gets in the Graves. Manji drives it in, gets in the Fuller. And Manji is going to be the leader of this race. When we take the green flag, it'll look like E.J. O'Rourke will be second. And Joshua Cotton, who has just minded his own business the whole race, has now got a chance to go to victory lane if the top 2 get together. And there's a good possibility that could happen. But an unbelievable turn of events down in turn number 3, taking out some good cars. Not only at the front of the field, but at the back of the field as well. Justin Fuller going to cycle around. He's going to be lined up. We'll wait for timing and scoring to give us an exact location. Is he going to be moved? Evan, he's going to be moved back up to P2, it looks like, for this restart.
I don't know if that's going to make TJ Graves feel any better. When you're heated and you're looking at somebody's bumper, you're not looking at your braking point anymore. So you got the 51 who dive bombs the 22, and if you're the 92, I don't think you really notice that the 51's going in any harder because you're just looking for him to brake, and then you'll brake a second later. So you got 2 guys that weren't going to make the corner at all, as you said, and I mean for, what, the 6th or 7th time at least? It's only round 8. TJ Graves is in a spot to win a race, and out of the 3 guys, TJ was the one in front. He had nothing to do with it. He got hit by Tony Manji. He got hit by Justin Fuller. They're P1 and P2. He gets the short end of the straw. He's 15th.
That's how short track racing works sometimes. We'll move on to the next week. Graves is going to be hungrier than ever by the time we get to Stafford looking for a win in round number 9. Lights out on a pace car. It'll be 9 to go.
And we thought that last one got a little bit messy. We'll see what they do this time. Could it be for the final time of caution inside the final 4 laps? Would end it inside. Tony Manji, green flag back in the air. 9 laps to go at Lanier. And topside Justin Fuller. He'll be able to get down in line if he wants to. Top 2 nose to tail the 51. He'll make a high side charge in 3 and 4.
Manji slides up, gets into him. They make a little contact. Fuller has enough room if he wants to slide down low. He does. To the inside goes Fuller, but they wreck behind. No caution yet as they go side by side. There's a little bit more contact. Caution flies. Who's going to have the lead?
Manji.
iRacing scoring.
They were nose to tail. Tony Manji going to be scored as your race leader at the time the caution comes out. And no surprise, a couple of select words as we go take a look at the replay for the accident, but that's not what we're talking about. Choice words between the 92 and the 51. Fuller using that apron. I mean, it's not a double yellow, so you can go down there, but he passed him on the apron. The 92 pitched him down. That yellow came out just a split second before that 51 got him at a turn number 4. And if we get a 1 to 2 lap shootout here as we work under the caution flag, and we'll cross the start-finish line at a slowed pace this time by to take 5 laps to go. Still one more chapter left in what has been an absolutely wild closing 30 laps to what seemed to be earlier tonight, just about 15 minutes ago, a rather normal Varno Construction 100. Since then, it has been far from anything like that.
Lap 60, all these cars were clean, looked like they just rolled off the trailer, a little bit of rubber buildup, and now it looks like they've been through a 300 lap enduro at your local dirt track. I mean, these two cars are tore up, the drivers are furious, and it all happened, like you said, in the past 30 laps, past 10, 15 minutes. As we get set to stack them up, this will be the last time. We know that for sure, and it's going to be only just 2 laps when we get the green flag.
That won't even guarantee us a checkered flag under the green either, with Tony Bonji and Justin Fuller running 1-2. Could somebody play Kyle Busch in all of this? Sit behind it, see what happens. Joshua Cotton has moved into 3rd, EJ O'Rourke is 4th, and Philip Thompson sits in 5th. It's going to be hard to make that car as wide as you can, though, because if they can pass you up against the inside wall, that number 50, Wadabashita Justin Fuller is going to go anywhere he can, at which that 92 is not. Tony Manji better be ready to hang on.
And we've already seen these guys not afraid to use the bumper when it comes down to go into victory lane. The bumper is out the window and into the other car. They stack them up 2 by 2. Green, white, checkered at Lanier.
They'll take 2 laps to go. Tony Manji going to power down to turns number 1 and 2. Top side, Justin Fuller. He wants to get in line, but he can't do it. It's Joshua Cotton there at a turn number 2. It's going to force the 51 machine to try the outside in turn 4. White flag in the air. Justin Fuller powers out of 4. He'll make it a dead heat at 1 lap to go. Contact down the back straightaway. 1 final corner to decided. Manji on the inside. Fuller top side. They'll wreck behind. Turn 4 for the final time. Fuller going to get the job done. Top side to take the checkered flag in the Varno Construction 100. Manji spins out after the race after contact in turn number 2. And I think despite how incredible that was, that's about the cleanest way any of that could have ended. Spectacular result. Justin Fuller gets it done on the outside of the racetrack. An absolutely power move off that final corner to nick him by 3/100ths of a second.
Wow. I'm glad you had something to say
And
there because I'm speechless. Holy cow, Justin Fuller, like you said, cleanest way he could have done it. Cleanest way we've seen it done it all night. Around the outside, 39/1000ths of a second at the line over Tony Manji, while just everybody crashed behind him. Philip Thompson ends up coming home 3rd, and the guy who we talked about all night looking to have a good run comes out outside the top 10.
And Fuller with that win tonight, and with the P17 result for Nicholas Rasmussen, He'll only be able to sit in it, albeit for 1 week, because after next week, we're going to knock those top 14 drivers to an equal amount of points and go championship racing for the final 3. But with that victory, Justin Fuller going to launch himself to the top of the championship standings. In round number 6 and 7, the last 2 races, but more so the final race on 2015, we went to the brand new Southern National Motorsports Park on iRacing. That was a side-by-side finish to the line, exactly what we saw tonight. These guys are spoiling us with some extremely exciting finishes, and it gets even better because we're going to get the opinion of Justin Fuller, Tony Bonci, and hopefully Philip Thompson as well. The LSRTV post-race show still to come as we wrap up what was no doubt a thrilling Thursday night short track, Saturday night styled race here on LSRTV. Justin Fuller, nonetheless, though, your winner at the Lanier National Speedway. He'll win the Varno Construction 100. The post-race wrap-up coming up in a moment. I highly encourage you to stick around. We'll see you in a bit. We're back live at the virtual Lanier National Speedway for the post-race show. It's round 8 of 12 now down. There's only 4 races left in 1 race before the chase gets kicked off on the 2015 and now 2016 Upstate Racing League Les Enterprises MP Roy Incorporated Pro Late Model Series. And for the 2nd race in a row, a finish decided by less than half a second. This one at 3/100ths of a second. That's all that gave Justin Fuller the checkered flag in front of Tony Bonci. P1 and P2, a thrilling run to the end. And as we welcome you back into the LSRTV post-race show, Evan Pasoko and Ben Gilcrease with you. We're going to talk to the driver that was just behind all of the excitement, and not to get lost in all of this is a spectacular run for Philip Thompson. Philip, 19th to 3rd for you in this one, coming home just a little bit over half a second away from those top 2 spots, and I'm sure you had a very good view on those final couple of laps there, coming to the green-white checkered on everything that went down in front of you. Outside of that, though, you passed 17 drivers tonight.
Yeah, it was definitely a great night. I kind of found myself about the same situation I was last week there, watching the top few battle it out. I mean, really, more than anything, I kind of got a little luck there. The 41 got in three a little heavy and moved the 81 up a little bit, I think, and I was just able to squeak by there. And it just kind of fell into my lap, I guess.
Right spot at the right time, 19th to 3rd, in a race that was, I guess it was riddled with attrition towards the end, though, but long green flag stretches early on in this race. The 17 machine, it's got a couple of battle scars, but I mean, it could be worse compared to some of the guys that didn't quite make it home all the way. Approaching this race, qualified at 19th position and didn't have any times posted in the hour practice session right before you guys hit the track to put down that hot lap. What was the approach going from 19th position, hoping to get the best result you could?
Oh, really well. Early on, I was just trying to keep my nose clean, stay out of trouble. I didn't really think I had much for them there at the beginning because we were on the first, I think, maybe 40 laps green, and I really didn't feel like I was going very, very far. So I just kind of rode around and got shuffled around a little bit on a couple cautions there, and was actually planning on pitting to take tires around lap 70 or so, and I ended up waiting it out just a little bit, and about that time there was a pretty good shuffle in front of me, and I think I passed like 6 cars before the caution came out. And so, it was just kind of a story of being in the right place at the right time all night long. And that put me in, I think, about 6th, and that kind of set up the end there.
And then you found yourself in the right spot at the right time, and that was not in all of the calamity at a turn number 4. You scoot on to take 3rd, and you're exactly right, because it was the same scenario that we saw the last time out. You came home in P3. You watched Rasmussen and Fuller in that one go door-to-door to the start-finish line. You're doing exactly what you need to do, though, at this point in the season. You're sitting right in the heart of the chase field. There's one race left to go. You can get that thing locked up and battle for a championship, and if you can average a P3 finish in those chase races, there's a pretty good shot that you and the 17 machine have. Looking forward now, had a couple of weeks off, 2016 now underway, 4 races to go, 1 more before we really get down to business and fight for the hardware. How do you think you guys are doing so far as where you stack up?
Well, that's kind of been the story all year. I've kind of been caught up in a few situations here and there early in the season. And like you said, here the past couple of weeks, we've been being able to string together a couple good finishes. And a lot of luck there involved, but I'll take luck over skill any day. But actually, in the chase, all 3 tracks in the chase are actually really good tracks of mine. So we're really looking forward to getting into there and seeing what we can do with these guys. I know we've had pretty decent speed all year. If we can just rattle off a couple top 5s in that deal, I think we'll be sitting in a pretty good position.
And we look forward to the next and then final race on the regular season for the Stafford Motor Speedway for the Lake City RC Speedway 100. That one coming up next Thursday night on LSRTV. Then another track that you guys can be up there and fight for a podium on?
Yeah, definitely. I hope so. I'm just going to kind of keep the same game plan, just kind of try to make it to the end and just see if I can put myself in the right place at the right time again.
Well, I'll tell you what, you found yourself in that spot tonight in a well-deserved P3 finish from 19th on the grid. You walk away with your 2nd consecutive top 3 and make yourself a shoo-in for one of the drivers that can't be overlooked by any conversation going into this championship. Philip, sponsors and shout-outs, a couple of people behind the scenes you want to give a call to. What we got you?
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. I got to thank Crockett Creek Beef Jerky, Hooker Harness, Off Axis Paint, some of my sponsors that helped me here and also in my real racing career. And also, I just want to, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Upstate now and all the people that make this happen. But also, if anybody out there want to check out my Facebook page, it's Philip Thompson. Anyways, we race in real life too, and I'm going to be racing a dirt late model this year, so that's going to be a pretty good experience.
Well, you got the 2016 racing calendar kicked off in the right way here on the Sim, Philip. Best of luck. We'll see you next Thursday night. Good luck in that as well. Good luck on the real world side of things, but we will see you for round 9.
Thank you.
But that's Philip Thompson, who comes home in 3rd tonight. Going to pass things down pit side, and Tony Bonci parked in a pit stall instead of victory lane. The gap just 39 1/1000ths of a second to Ben Kilcrease. You're down with our 2nd place finisher.
Tony Bonci, happy, not a good word tonight, but you do come out 2nd. You have 2 wins on the season. The win was right there. Walk us through those final 2 laps.
Yeah, we had a great race with the number 92 iRacing meme Chevy. It was very interesting to say the least. A lot happened in this race. There was a lot of exciting moments, so much that we could talk about it all night. But we had a good run, and if P2 stands, that's where it is, and that's where we are. So happy with that effort, but definitely thought we could have and maybe should have had more there at the end.
Night started off so great, so fast-paced here at Lanier, and then things took a turn for the worse right after one restart. Walk us through how you survived the rest of the night with the damage that you had, and walk us through the incident itself.
Yeah, we got a little bit of damage on a three-wide thing that happened, later in the race, maybe a little after halfway. And I noticed that, and I just kind of tried to ignore it as best I could. And it kind of just acted like the car was normal. During the race, though, I had a brake dragging issue, kind of a mechanical failure going on during the race. So that was something we had to deal with during the whole course of the race, which kind of might have affected, how things would happen when I'd come out of the corner. It wouldn't come out as strong as everybody else because I had the brakes going on. So I'm gonna have to talk to my crew chief about that here and get that fixed. But no, we'll take the P2 for the team and hopefully come back next week and do a little better.
Speaking of next week, we head to Stafford Motor Speedway, pack up everything, and head up the East Coast. How you gonna do, or what's your expectations heading in to the Northeast Stafford Motor Speedway next weekend?
As much as I'd love to say, I'd love to go win at Stafford. I would love that, but the expectations are really just to do the best that this car has. If the car's a fifth place car, I want to finish fifth. If it's a first place car, I want to win with it. So that's where we're at. I'm going to try not to overdo anything and get too aggressive with it.
Well, we'll wait and see what happens. And next week rolls around. Behind the scenes, who do you want to thank for putting you in the runner-up position tonight at Lanier?
Got to thank iRacing Memes and Manji Motorsports and Corvette sponsored us for this race, along with my teammate Brandon Odo, who was unable to make it. He was sick tonight, so but got to thank all of them, and we had a good run. So thanks, guys.
Congratulations on your P2. We'll see what Stafford holds for you. Now we send it down to Victory Lane, where Evan Pasonko has caught up with the three-time winner this season and unofficial new points leader. Evan?
We are down at Victory Lane, and they're not making these things easy on us at the end. And he's now on the flip side of what we saw at round 7, in which he lost the race by just 5 1/1000ths of a second. Tonight, Justin Fuller would not be denied, and a smart pit strategy call gave him the upper hand, literally, as he used the top side of the racetrack to get around Tony Bonci, taking the checkered flag, taking the win in the Varno Construction 100. Justin, congratulations. Outside, interesting call, and you said that coming down to the pit lane, which is something that we briefly discussed earlier on the race, how a lot of guys don't like coming down to the pit lane because they find themselves back in traffic. Well, you took care of that traffic very quickly, and you capitalized when it mattered, but that was a wild final 30 laps.
Yeah, it was very wild. I'm really surprised that people didn't pit when I pitted and didn't pit on that ensuing caution, 20 laps later or whatever it was. But it was a very interesting race. To say the least. Definitely some high points and some low points. But, that's short track racing, I guess.
And this is an interesting racetrack to race at because, again, a very similar scenario. You found yourself in a side-by-side fight at Southern National. Didn't get the job done. You got the job done here tonight. Everybody running down on that white line, rather the yellow hash marks really down at the bottom of the racetrack. But throughout the race, everybody started to go lower and lower and lower. But, even from the get-go, we saw in the opening 15 to 20 laps, while we did get a good long green flag stretch to get this race kicked off, everybody was very physical out there. Did you feel like because everybody else was roughing each other up that if you didn't get on that, then somebody was going to move you out of the way, kind of have to take advantage of them before they took advantage of you? Because it was a fun race for us to call, but there was a lot of guys getting at each other, which it's short track racing under the lights, and with a checkered flag on the line, it's hard to blame you guys.
When I was coming through the field, I was literally the only car I think that pitted on that pit stop when I took my tires. I came through the field with no problems. I didn't run anybody over. I had so much more grip. I just cut under them off the corner. And if I couldn't, I'd just work them over. I might give them a little bumper here and there, but I didn't move or dump anybody. When I got up to the front, the 92, didn't realize I was under him. I went all the way below the yellow line, and he just kept coming down. I can only go so far, and held my line, and he turned himself pretty much, but he saved it. I mean, he threw a fit about it, and he dumped me on the ensuing restart and put me into the 22, which I feel really bad for TJ. TJ really deserved a better run than what he had with his double clutch number 22 machine. He's had a rough season, and that right there sums up his season all in one corner right there. You know, leading the race, getting hit, getting wrecked. I feel really bad for that, but I want to take the positives out. We had a really good start to this race, and I really hope that we can continue on having better races throughout the season. This was probably our roughest one all season, so if we could put this one behind us, hopefully we'll move on to Stafford and have a really great race.
And grinding your way through, though, these rough races where things don't go necessarily all according to plan, but still being able to get the results you need is what's going to be important when we go to those final 3 races for the chase for the championship. We were talking with Philip Thompson, who finished 3rd in round number 7, and as well came home with a 7th place, or rather a 3rd place finish here tonight, rather, for round number 8. Behind you as well, we talked to him about consistency, back-to-back 3rd place finishes, even though it's not back-to-back wins, which I'm sure you would have liked the sound of that a lot more. A P2 and a P1. You guys have been pretty hot lately, even with the off weeks. Peaking at a good time. The championship is now just 1 race away from us before we go racing for those final 3. And that's really where everything ramps up another level. There's a couple of your championship competitors that were not here tonight. But overall, I feel like that 51 machine, and I'm sure you'd agree based on your assessment of how you guys have done. You guys have shown that you're here to fight for a championship, and you're not going to let Brandon Otto go back-to-back easily.
I really hope that, I don't know where Odo was tonight, he didn't make it, but I really hope that he's there for those last 3 races, because that's the guy I want to battle for the championship with. It would come down to me and him, I'd be happy. He's a great competitor, and it'd be really great. I forget what your other questions were, but I'm looking forward to it. Next week will be fun at Stafford, that's for sure. It's a fun, flat track. I think you're going to see a lot of bumping and banging there, too, so...
Well, tonight we saw some of that, and it was definitely an exciting finish for us and for you. Another trip to victory lane on the 2015-2016 Upstate Racing League Pro Late Model Series. Justin, from Victory Lane, the sponsors, the shout-outs, the people behind the scenes, you do want to give a call to. We got you down here on the mic.
I mean, I want to give a shout-out to TJ Graves again and his double clutch number 22. He deserved a much better finish, like I said. I'm glad he was able to rebound, at least get something out of it, but he definitely had a better run than that. I want to thank MP Roy for sponsoring the league, Upstate Racing League with Al and all the admins that run over here. They run a great league. I want to thank Lake City RC Speedway, Hanson Starter Shop, Mach 2 Management, iRacing Memes, Hag TV. I want to thank Ada Sign Raz sponsoring the car. John Ada, he puts out some really good paint schemes for me to run week in and week out, not only on here but on my truck and cup car and Xfinity car. I also want to thank Varno Construction for sponsoring the race. And you guys here in the broadcast booth, you do a great job week in and week out. LSRTV is one of the best in the business, and I'm glad you guys are the ones doing the broadcast.
Well, Justin, we appreciate the kind words, and the good news for you is you weren't the A-Design Wraps Wreck-A-Wrap tonight, because you make it through to the end of this one, and you put that number 51 machine in victory lane. It was an exciting show. It was fun to watch. Again, congratulations. I'll say hopefully you give us some excitement for the next race as well. For your sake, I hope things go a little bit more smoothly, but we'll see you next Thursday night for round 9.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Justin Fuller, no stranger to victory lane. Bennett, he gets the job done again tonight. He lost it by 5 1/1000ths for the final race of 2015. Redemption tonight as we get back on track. Winner over Tony Bongi, just by a nose topside to get the win.
Unbelievable race here at Lanier National Speedway tonight. That's 3 wins this season for Justin Fuller, and I've got a feeling it might not be his last, as we have 4 rounds remaining, 3 in the regular season, 1 in the regular season, 3 as we get to the chase starting on the January 21st. Top 10 as they finish tonight. Justin Fuller, of course, coming home with the win, 39 1/1000ths of a second over Tony Manji. Philip Thompson came home third. AJ Bunch was fourth. EJ O'Rourke rounded out the top 5. 6 was Dylan Gaudette. CJ LeVere, pole sitter, comes home in 7th. 8th to Mike Hotzclaw. 9th to TJ Graves, and Dan DeBuke was 10th.
And in P11, just behind, Al Smith Jr., Brian Rogers Jr. coming home in 12th tonight. 13th, Justin McDuff, Kel Frenier in 14th, and 15th, Bruce Hilton, the final driver to finish on the lead lap. 1 lap down for the 81 to Joshua Cotton in 16th, and everybody from here on out behind the wall as the drivers cross the start-finish line. Nicholas Rasmussen 17th, 18th to A.J. Hamill, 19th to Jade Book, Brandon Wilkinson 20th, and then to round out the field, 21st for Charlie Ryan and Stefan Baranek in 22nd. I mentioned how good Round 7 was. If you weren't tuned in, I do encourage you to check it out on the LSRTV YouTube page and get a taste of what that one was like. But Ben, I know you know a thing or two about short tracks, and I will say with all of that, and I've seen quite my fair share tonight, it was physical, but it was different, and we expect that every single time, though, you throw a bunch of guys out there on a race like this.
Oh yeah, different than your regular. These last 2 weeks have been different. Every short track race not going to end with a photo finish, but these guys get the next Thursday night, because I think we could see the same thing. We probably are going to see the same thing. Maybe another photo finish in round number 9 to lead us into the chase. Like you said, these guys were physical. They were beating and banging. And even in the interviews, everybody seemed kind of mad. But on the other hand, they were like, yeah, that's short track racing. We'll move on to next week and put on another good show for the fans.
And we hope to see you when we do go back on the air for the next race in the Upstate Racing League Pro Late Model Series campaign. It's the final one before the chase, and it's going to be next Thursday night, the 14th of January, right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Do want to encourage you to go livesimracing.com. There's a full broadcast schedule because our break, unlike the off-season for most racing, it's at about 2 or 3 months. The last week has been our break. It's back at it for 2016, and you can find a full LSRTV broadcast schedule on our website. I also encourage you to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/LiveSimRacingTV. There's tons of exciting stuff to come up on LSRTV and LSRTV2. Want to thank you for being a part of it and enjoying it with us, and we hope to see you in the future. Until next time, though, on behalf of everybody at LSRTV and for the broadcast team tonight, for myself, Evan Posoko, on behalf of Ben Kilcrease and LSRTV's executive producer, Laura Lawson, want to thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Justin Fuller, winner threefold, this time at the Lanier National Speedway. He's heating up as the chase sits now just 13 days away. We'll see you next Thursday night for the final race on the regular season. Until then, good night, and we will see you from Stafford Springs.